So, you've completed the absolutely amazing main story of The Last of Us and may be left behind, and you want more. Where do you go? The multiplayer, of course. You join a match and immediately get destroyed. The same happens in the next, and the next, until you feel like you don't want to play the game anymore. Does this description fit in on you? Well, I'm here to help. Hello everyone, my name is TheiPadCat, and since you clicked on this video, you're clearly wondering how to get started in The Last of Us multiplayer in 2017. To be fair though, since the game's life cycle is long over, this isn't specifically a guide for 2017. So if you're watching this from the future or somehow from the past, it'll probably still work for you. Now, before we begin, I want to make it clear that I am by no means a professional The Last of Us player, if there even is such a thing. I do, however, have almost 3 years of experience both playing the game myself and watching other people play. The reason I'm doing this guide is so that new players can get into the multiplayer easier, because right now, more than 4 years after the game's launch, The Last of Us multiplayer kinda is this tight-knit community of skilled people who have been playing for years, and when new players try to get into that community, they kind of just immediately get crushed by veterans and get discouraged to continue playing. So my goal with this video is to teach new players the basics of the game and to give them a little bit more of a chance. Bear in mind though that The Last of Us is a game with a high skill ceiling, so even if you take what I say in this video to heart, you won't become a better player overnight. However, if you commit yourself to what you learn from this video and practice it, you will improve. But it will take time, so don't give up. I'll be dividing this tutorial into 3 sections so that you can skip ahead and only watch a certain bit if you want to, or if you come back to this video just to rewatch a certain part. These 3 parts will be basic strategy tips, the Dragshot technique, and what loadout and weapon I recommend for new players. So let's get right into it. Number 1. Don't hardscope. And I don't say that because I think it's a scrub thing to do, although it totally is, so don't do it. No, but seriously, I say it because 9 times out of 10, when the enemy you're waiting for to pop out of cover will get you first. Just watch this. That guy is hardscoping. He's got the advantage of aiming first, but I still get him. Then there's this guy, which probably actually is the same guy. Or this guy. Moral of the story, don't hardscope. Number 2. Avoid shivs by using the map. I couldn't get any footage of this one, so shh, let's just pretend that these guys are trying to shiv me. See those red dots on the map? If one of those rapidly closes in on your position from behind, turn the camera around immediately. You can't be shivved if you're looking right at the enemy. Number 3. Healing isn't always the number 1 priority. If you're hurt and need to patch up, but there are enemies nearby closing in on your position, either stand your ground or get out of there. An enemy all by him or herself healing themselves is a very easy target for a team of players to rush. Look at this clip of me, for example. I attack this group of players and get hurt and need to patch up, so I retreat and begin to heal myself. However, one of them rushes me, so I stop healing and stand my ground. Now, in this particular example, I get downed. But what do you think would have happened if I just would have continued healing? Way too many players die this way by getting rushed and not either retreating or standing their ground. Number 4. Don't rush into battle. Let's go back to the beginning of this video. You've completed the story of The Last of Us, and when playing that story you might have been able to rush through it at times, dropping infected and other enemies left, right and center. And when you first play multiplayer, you probably adopt the same strategy, which is understandable. But that's not how The Last of Us multiplayer works. When you rush into battle, this is what happens. The game offers a lot of ways to play stealthily. use them. That being said though, don't be that guy that crouch walks for 15 minutes and accomplishes nothing but draining respawn tickets. Learn how to assess when both rushing and crouch walking are necessary. Using either one too much or too little makes for a bad experience both for yourself and your teammates. Number 5. If you're getting shot at, move. This one is pretty self-explanatory, but I've seen so many low levels doing it that I have to bring it up. If you're getting shot at and you don't really know from where, like in this clip, move, run, just get out of there. So many people just stay and try to return fire, but it's useless if you don't know where the enemy is. Most weapons just take a few shots to down you, so when you find the enemy, it's already too late. Number 6. Stick with your teammates. The Last of Us multiplayer is a team-based mode. Sure, you can try going up against the enemy team by yourself, like that guy did. But a team sticking together is almost always superior to a team where everybody is lone wolfing, which usually just leads to that team getting picked off one by one. Number 7. Learn the gun sounds. And the last strategy tip of the day. This one is a bit hard to do immediately when you jump into the multiplayer, but learn the sounds of the guns. It sounds ridiculous. I mean, every gun is a threat, so why does it matter knowing which one it is exactly? Well, it matters a lot. The Last of Us multiplayer is all about assessing the situation, and knowing what weapons your enemies are wielding is a great way to do this. You don't even need to see the enemy in order to prepare what your course of action is going to be. Just listen to when they're firing their weapon and then plan out on how you're going to beat him or her. And that marks the end of the first part of the video. Now let's move on to the Dragshot technique. Have you ever wondered how those snipers always seem to just headshot you extremely fast, even when you see them first or even when you shoot at them first? Of course, there is some element of luck in it, but 90% of it is that they're using a technique called the Dragshot. This technique is almost as old as the game itself, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was discovered and coined by Sancho West. The Dragshot is actually very simple. It consists of aiming a bit to the side of an enemy, often the head if you're going for headshots, and then dragging your crosshair over the enemy in any direction. When it passes over the enemy, you will notice a slight decrease in your dragging speed. That is your cue to shoot. If you practice this, it will, in time, become a part of your reflexes. I recommend either practicing this in the story or with a friend in a private match. Also, I forgot to add, the Dragshot works for every single weapon in the game. You don't need to use the hunting rifle in order to utilize the technique. If you want a more detailed explanation, there are some great tutorials on YouTube. I could also make another video going more in depth on the Dragshot if you guys want that. Now, let's move on to the final part. Your loadout in The Last of Us is more important than you think. You might think that you can just pick a weapon, then slap together some random perks and do great. Of course, it's possible if you're really good at the game, or if you're lucky. What I see a lot of new players do is use the full auto rifle, which sounds good on paper but in reality is actually a pretty bad weapon. What you should do instead is put together a sort of all-around class that can be used for pretty much every situation. I recommend using this class, which you've already seen me use for the entirety of this video, except for the Dragshot part. A silenced semi-auto rifle so that you won't show up on screen when shooting. Explosion Expert 1 so that you can get those sweet nail bomb and molotov multi-kills a bit easier. First aid training 1 so that you can heal yourself 75% faster. Crafter 1 for when you really need to craft something quickly. And the assault rifle as a purchasable weapon. And of course we can't forget the shorty for those close range encounters. You could change some stuff around, like the purchasable weapon, or maybe take off the silencer on the semi-auto rifle, so that you can afford more perks or a higher perk level on the perks already in the loadout, etc. But overall, this is a good starter class. I think that was it. If you liked this video, why not give it a like? And if you want more, why not consider subscribing to the channel? Have a good day!